Hello Taurus, this is going to be your January to February 2020 read. If you are new, thank you for stopping by. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I hope you guys are having a really nice start to your year. I know this is a really wild time for people astrologically and because of the new decade. So, Taurus, let's begin and see what's happening with you. I know you guys had a really wild year last year with romance. I know there were a lot of single Taurus people, and they were really looking for their people, and then some of them just said, you know what, I'm not bothering right now. It's just the search is too much. But in terms of romance, I know Taurus people went through a lot of that in 2019. Taurus, there's some interesting things here for you. I think a lot of you have just had it with any nonsense. Arguments, relationships. You will ride in and cut that off quickly. I think if there are people playing games or relationships that aren't going anywhere, you'll cut that off quickly. You're just not up for that anymore. I think some of you may have even decided that maybe casual relationships suit you better, because the thought of giving a lot of yourself up or changing for someone is not something you want to do. And I think you know that historically, you have had a habit of doing that. When you go into a relationship, you go all in, all in. Here's money, your own space, your friend. You really mold your whole life to this other person. And I think right now you're feeling like you are in a particular space on your own, and you just don't want to do that. I think you feel like emotionally it just bankrupts you and saps your energy. And maybe for some of you, you needed 2019 to have that space apart from a partner so that you could really get down to what you really wanted. Of course, Taurus being an earth sign, that's what you want. There's a lot of grounded energy here. And I think to cut away what you thought the fantasy of a relationship was and decide what really suits you. And I think you really had a lot of that. I think in the beginning, maybe you were a little bit nervous. Some of you may have had breakups and you were wondering how you would do without your partners. And some of you just couldn't find the right partner for you, period. Some of you may have even been, if you were going off to school, separating from partners. If you were older, you may have been going through divorce from longtime partners. But at some point, you decided that your version of love, which was full of fantasy and maybe running into this person, and I talked about this in, I think, the Capricorn video, that Virgos and Taurus people, they tend to be more analytical. But I think this breakup affected you in the way that it left you a little bit out of balance, and you had a lot of fantasies about your next person. It wasn't so much that you were hung up on your old person, you were done. But it was really about, this next person. They're going to be really amazing, or so on and so forth. But I think, again, some of that was rooted in these old negative habits that get you involved with the wrong people. So I think 2019 was a cleansing year for a lot of you. Really important. Really important for you to clear your vision. And also, some of you were thinking about what types of families these people were connected to. So in other words, you finally understood at some point in 2019 that you don't just get the person, you get their friends, you get their family, you get their pets, and I think typically you were so focused on the person that really whatever came with them, you were fine. I think now you're thinking a little bit more about the whole package, and do you want to surround yourself with their family? Do you really want these people to be your in-laws? Do you really want that dog when you're a cat person? All those types of things. I think you're really clearing your vision for more long-term thinking and where you are now. And I think that's a really, really beautiful thing. Taurus, I would still be careful, because sometimes when you have this knowledge, you can be a bit abrasive with someone new. We certainly don't want you going out on a first date and giving your laundry list of things you won't tolerate. Because when you do that, you put the other person in a place of defense. And so if they have something nice to offer, you may not see that. I think for you, you can rely on the fact that you've done this work and that you'll be able to judge someone in a way that's reliable. You won't have to let them eat up too much of your time. And you can just have fun. It's fine to spend an hour or so with somebody in a public place if they're new and figure it out. And yeah, it's our judgment. Our judgment coming up. Be gentle, Taurus. You are a very strong sign. And not all of the other signs are as made to go to battle, Taurus people tend to have big personalities when they want to, and then they can sort of go off in the corner and stay quiet for a while. And whatever that other person thinks, they don't care. They can just sort of, they're so into their own space and their own sensory things. Other people are not like that, Taurus. I know it's very hard for some of you to understand. Maybe if you go out on a date and you don't like the person, you don't have to tell them that, they suck. Maybe don't just tell them. You don't have to lie either, but some of you are like that. You're so blunt, and then someone will go and, cry for 2 weeks. You'll really hurt them so deeply that they'll be questioning themselves. So maybe don't do that, Taurus. Maybe just be gentle with your judgments. Balance, I think we're looking at that. Some of you can go away for long periods. You're like camels. You can go away for long, long periods with no human contact. And then, when you do come out to play with people, you have this beautiful energy. You light up the room, you're chatting people up, you're making them laugh. And I think there's a little bit of an imbalance right now. Also, I think some of you have your very big goals on your mind, and so you're very happy to sit in the house all of your free time thinking and dreaming about these goals without any real human contact. And remember, you need that contact to make these things happen. And I think some of the time when you go out, you feel like, great, I had a good time. Some of the times you feel like that was a waste of makeup, hair, gas. You know, I didn't meet anyone, I didn't talk to anyone interesting, I didn't see anything new. And so that's part of your other thing. I think some of you are really looking for, if it's not exciting, if it's not new, if it's not stimulating you, you just don't want to bother at all. But sometimes those little encounters will lead to something bigger. Just keep that in mind. And I see a lot of you are focused on big, big things this year. You want to move to another country. You want to move halfway across the country. You've got an itch happening here, and it's big. It's big. For some of you, not all of you, be careful about where this itch is coming from, because for some of you, it's coming from a place of maybe you stumbled over an ex's profile or an old boss or something, and this is almost like an I'll show them kind of a thing, like an ego thing. I'll get to this place that's amazing so that they can see me, and you know, it sort of validates the pain or the breakup in your mind. This really has to come from a place that is for you, Taurus. So get clear. Get clear about what that is. Yeah, you want to get clear, because otherwise you're going to get halfway into this big thing, and it's not coming from a place of real passion, and so you'll find ways to start arguments, or when people start arguments with you, you'll be unusually sensitive. The whole thing will blow up anyway, so of course you don't want that. So Taurus, as always, thank you for coming by. Take care.